Candace and I met in December of 2018, and we got engaged very quickly after 17 days. It was very much a God thing. The full story is quite entertaining.
Let's take a look at the ring on Candace's finger, by the way.
I think it's 13 carats, the same age that you were, Becky, when you guys met. So I want to...
Chapter 2. The logic of a 17-day proposal. The windmill nature of their relationship became legendary. A proposal just 17 days after they met, but it wasn't impulsive. George Farmer framed it as a divine moment, a leap of faith. The Lord was in control of what that process is, he said, an active free will to either continue life in London or take the plunge into a world I knew nothing of. And it wasn't just one proposal. The first occurred over FaceTime while en route to South Africa for New Year's, a modern-day twist of a rom-com. The second one, a more traditional in-person proposal, came on Valentine's Day in Philadelphia, complete with a ring and a dinner perfectly timed.
I saw Candace and just sort of thought, yep, this is going to work. And it took me all of 2 weeks to ask her to marry me. And as I say, you know, shock tactics. It caught her off guard, and she said yes, and she didn't even know what she was doing. So there we go.
Candace is a smart lady, and I promise she knew what she was doing.
Nobody really knows the full story, but we did get engaged after 2.5 weeks, which is not that common. And he asked me in one of the most shocking ways ever. We had not had our first kiss. We didn't even technically go on a first date. I know, you guys are going, what is going on? But we were in Florida. He had followed me back from London after I was on stage ranting against socialism. And he fell in love, and he followed me back to London. He followed me back to Florida. And we were sort of both kind of aware that I was aware that he was the one, he was aware I was the one, but none of us really had the courage, I guess, at that moment to say anything. And then he left and went back to London, and we FaceTimed. And he asked me if he could FaceTime me from an airport. He was getting on his plane to go down to South Africa. And I said, sure. So I pulled over my car, and I turned on, I accepted his FaceTime call. And do you want to tell them what you said?
Yeah, so as I said, shock tactics, crucial. Gents, if you're looking to propose, always use a line which they'll never forget. My opening line was, I need to tell you something in case this plane crashes. Which obviously then went down like a lead balloon, and she was sort of like, what's wrong with the plane? And I said, nothing's wrong with the plane, but I need to tell you this. I said, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, and will you marry me? And if the first shock tactic didn't get her, the second one did. And so she said, sort of surprised yes. Which was kind of cute.
And then he had no Wi-Fi for 12 hours, and I was wondering if his plane was going to actually crash. So maybe use a different tactic next time, fellas.
Nothing romantic was said, you know, between that day and the day that we got engaged. Nothing romantic was said at all. You know, there was no overtures. Like we didn't go for dinner, like we didn't take it. Nothing.
Send her flowers.
No, nothing. Yeah, nothing, exactly. And so I was very clear about that, because it was almost like getting to know oneself in some ways. It was kind of a very strange experience. You know, it was like I saw myself in her, and in doing so, and that sounds sort of, well, I fell in love with myself. No, I didn't fall in love with her. I fell in love with a woman who gave so much of myself back to me, you know, and I kind of...
Family reactions were priceless. Farmer's parents, they said this is very crazy, very odd. Josh's sister said in laughter, and in some unforgettable words, she said to him, this is so not you, but it's still very you.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, everyone thought I was mad. Everyone thought we were both mad. You know, I mean, it was just nuts. Like, my parents were kind of like, what is this? You know, are you being serious, kind of thing? And, you know, one of my sisters was sort of, she actually just laughed about the whole thing. She was just like, this is so not you, but it's also very you, you know? And so she came out with that line, which I thought was quite a funny way of putting it. And then, a lot of my friends kind of didn't believe it, or they sort of thought that I was trying to hoist something on them. And then they kind of realized that I was being serious. And then a lot of them got on board.
Public announcement of the engagement was delayed, not to hide it, but to frame it as a serious rather than a whimsical engagement.
And then kind of we didn't just sort of announce it to the world, because it was kind of too much for a lot of people to process. They just thought that it was like a joke. And so we kind of held back announcing it, and I think we finally actually put something out about it kind of in February or something like that. But that was the kind of timeline that we went through.
Every move was calculated and curated, but not without charm and humor. That is exactly who Candace and George are if you follow their background stories. 2 weddings and a vineyard union. Mirroring the Dwa proposal, the couple held 2 weddings. First, a quiet legal ceremony on August 6, 2019, just the 2 of them. Then, the grand public celebration on August 31st at Trump's Winery in Charlottesville, Virginia. Guests included political heavyweights such as Nigel Farage, reinforcing their narrative of the BLEXIT meets Brexit in the flesh. Candace wore 3 Monique Laurent gowns. George wore a morning suit with tails. Every choice was intentional. Elegance, tradition, and spectacle. A political and social statement rolled up into one unforgettable day. Chapter 4. A foundation of faith and family. Marriage quickly became family. 4 children followed. A son, January 13, 2021, a daughter, Louise Marie, July 13, 2022, a son, Max, November 20, 2023, and a son, Roman, May 2025. Through it all, faith remains central. Farmer credits meeting Owens with reigniting his spiritual journey, leading to a career shift from finance to a media or technological company.
And from the moment that I met her, I knew something was different. Like I looked at her and was like, this is a different woman to any woman that I knew. She just commanded a power. I was very willing to let myself fade and give glory to her. That's how I view our marriage in many ways. Like I'm very happy to take a secondary position to give glory to her. I'm far less politically involved now than I was, because she's much more politically involved than I ever could be. When I met her, she was this tour de force, incredible mind, incredible beauty. I was so willing to just...
Owens, originally Protestant, converted to Catholicism in April 2024, solidifying a spiritual, shared, and moral foundation of the family. Faith is not just personal, it's public. Both discuss it openly, integrating spiritual values into the narrative as a couple, blending ideology, marriage, and family seamlessly. Chapter 5. Public and private lives. Their marriage exists at the intersection of love, politics, and public scrutiny. George's role as CEO of Parler aligned directly with Candace's political work, turning personal life into a platform for ideological synergy. Controversies, legal challenges, and family commentary regularly remind them that the private and public are inseparable. For example, in August 2024, Lord Michael Farmer publicly commented on issues raised by Candace's statement, testing boundaries between family loyalty and political ideology. Candace reassured the public, saying family comes first, always. Moments like this highlights the delicate dance of love, politics, and public perception in their lives. Conclusion. From a 17-day engagement to 2 weddings, 4 children, shared faith, and an intertwined political career, Candace Owens and George Farmer's story is a one-wheel of conviction, culture, and yes, a little humor. Her bombastic Americanism, his retired English persona, opposites not only attracted, they created a life that is anything but ordinary. In a hyper partisan age, their union shows that love can be fast, faith can guide decisions, and cultural differences can be perfectly balanced. It's messy at times, dramatic, deeply, deeply public, and entirely unique. But it's a modern romance that proves opposites can not only attract, but they can thrive. Tell me what you think about Candace and George's relationship in the comment section. If you met your man or woman and 17 days later you felt it was the right thing, will you propose? Will you accept the proposal? Let me know in the comment section. And will you ever convert from one religion to another for a spouse or not? These are themes that brings up a lot of conversation when it comes to the world. And these are things that we would like to discuss because these are things that help us understand even our own personal biases as well as convictions. Don't fool yourself. Everything that is happening out there has an element of what shapes your belief and patterns in life. And whether you believe them or not, life is a full circle. Until next time, bye.